What up, gamers? And Merry Christmas. Today I give you the gift of Elo. Now I know I am late to doing the meta-analysis videos, but I was busy. I was the best man in a wedding, I was out of town for a bit, and I just gotten a chance to play, and I gained 300 LP in one sitting. Think I have a good read on the meta, so I'm here, standing before you today, to tell you what you should be playing if you want to climb. And okay, so let's just get into it. So normally when I do these videos, I go through all of the, I just go through like this. I just go through kind of like what the stats kind of tell me in the meta. But, you know, I'm going to do something different today because I think there's something better that I can do to help explain the meta to you guys if any of you guys are struggling. And that is just talk about the carries that you want to play for and kind of what items they use and all that good stuff. And to do that, we have to talk about the meta, and we are in a 4-cost meta. Isn't it great, fellas? I love 4-cost metas. I know there's been a lot of talk about the balance of this patch, but I actually think this is one of the best patches we've had in a while. And that is because we get to play 4-cost, and I love playing 4-cost. So let's get into the 4-cost. So if you notice something, there's a lot of red buffs on this on this screen. And I might do a separate video for items. But yeah, these are the 4-cost carries that we want to play. And red buff is a very good item. That is an item that you guys should be slamming every game when you have an opportunity to do it. So these are the 4-costs you should be playing for most games. Now, you can play TF and stuff like that. Like TF is definitely playable, but it's not something you want to play on purpose. Something you usually play when you're trying to play Ahri, but then you have to play TF. Karthus is very bad on this patch. Karthus in KDA Akali combo is really bad on this patch. I really don't recommend playing it. There are some scenarios in which it is probably okay, but probably don't play that. So let's go through and let's talk about, turn this music down a little bit. Let's talk about what we are, how we get here. So Ahri is really good with this item setup. Specifically, you just want to play Sentinel. Sentinel is a premier frontline right now, and you want a very big frontline. Blue buff plus Nashers is our best damage combo, and then plus a Gunblade because you are running a stall composition. A lot of times whenever you play Ahri, it's very good. This is very contested. So usually when you play Ahri or any of these 4-cost comps right now, taking a econ augment on 2-1 is very, very, very good, and going fast 8 is going to be very good for you guys on this patch. If you can, obviously you need to roll a little bit on 6 and 7 sometimes, but ideally you want to go fast 8 and roll for these carries. And especially whenever you're playing Ahri, you want to look for Ahri chosen, whether it's KDA or Spellweaver. Can change how your build looks a little bit, you know, dip into the 5 of those traits if you can, or any Sentinel chosen. So Echo, whatever. Like sometimes you can even take a Cassante or a Lilia from the early game and not open that slot. Usually it's pretty good to open that slot whenever you roll, but it's not even the worst thing in the world to get the 6 Sentinel with a 1-cost Sentinel chosen. It's not even that bad. So ideally you want to get to 6 Sentinel or get to your 5 breakpoints with either Spellweaver or KDA, depending on what chosen you get for Ahri, and then build this item setup. Gunblade is very good, but if you get healing from augments, it's acceptable to run something else, but the Gunblade also helps keep Ahri's team alive, you know what I mean? So Ezreal is very good on this patch with this combination of items, blue buff, red buff, and then Infinity Edge. A lot of times when you slam blue buff, you can end up flexing between Ezreal, Ahri, and Akali, because Akali can use these items as well. If you end up building these and then you get an Akali chosen, you could totally play it. You don't have to play Ezreal with, like, you could totally play these items on Akali. It's not bad at all. Although Akali has slightly better itemization if you go a little bit different route. So yeah, playing Ezreal is very good. Playing Heartsteel in the mid game is very, very, very good. If you guys get a Heartsteel chosen, run 5 Heartsteel in the mid game. Get some really devastating cash outs for stage 3 and stage 4, and then go and look for your Ezreal and just send it on level 8 to look for this stuff. So yeah, you can kind of flex these items between these 3 carries right here. Obviously, Caitlyn can't really use blue buff, but a lot of times whenever you're playing Caitlyn, you can also do a carry an Ezreal because you can intermix like Big Shot and Rapid Fire really easily, especially if you get the MF and Lucian combo. It's very easy to splash that in and you'll be good to go. Let's talk about some of the frontline carries real quick. And Akali true damage is very good. So if you get a true damage emblem, it is very broken. The true damage emblem will go on either Caitlyn or Ahri usually, and those will be your secondary carries in the true damage comp, as well as just a Senna 2-star with some items can, you know, do a lot of work here. So, but anyway, so we're going to be playing whenever we play Akali. I really like this type of itemization. 1 healing. I really like QSS. And then I just think Infinity Edge is the best AD carry item right now. It's just really easy to flex between Ezreal, Caitlyn, Akali, and even Zed to a certain degree. with Infinity Edge. So I really like that. Whenever you play true damage, you want to play at least 4 true damage. Ideally, you want to get to 6 with the emblem or with the chosen. But yeah, I usually like to look to play either Ezreal or Akali whenever I'm rolling for my chosen with these types of itemizations, and I'll kind of flex that a little bit. So another frontline AD carry that is very good on this patch is Zed, EDM, or Crowd Diver. Crowd Diver is the better version, I still believe, but EDM is very good as well. So a Zed chosen is very good with frontline AD carry items. Now, he could totally use the same itemization as Akali. I just think he's a little bit better with some defensive setup, and Akali also can be good with a defensive setup, but I actually like BT Edge of Night +1. I like that a lot, but if you end up going like Akali itemization, or you end up having to build like some type of Ezreal itemization on him, it's not too bad. It's acceptable. Poppy is extremely good. They buffed her for honestly no reason. She's not insanely good as a carry, but she is just an amazing chosen that you should not pass up. If she is offered to you very early on a roll down, she is very, very, very stable on stage 4 and stage 5. Just as a secondary carry usually, or a tank, she is very unkillable, and her itemization typically, I mean, you don't really look to itemize Poppy, so I just go for Sterix +2 and you're good to go. Sterix is their best item here. And then I just wanted to quickly show some of the legendary outs that you can look to first place your compositions with. Jhin is the best one, and it's very easy because you're building blue buff for a lot of these compositions. And Gunblade, he just needs blue buff healing +1 usually, and he'll just win your fights. He's very good as you're already carrying Ezreal or Caitlyn or whatever, and then you just have Jhin as insurance to when you need to fight. If you're playing a comp with a very big front line, even an Ahri comp, because you're running Sentinel, which is a very big front line. Turn this music back up. I want to feel the Christmas energy coursing through my veins. Anyway, so Jhin is a great insurance, especially when you're running big frontline comps, and he can help you out right there. Sona, the attack speed variation is still very good, and so if you end up building a Rage Blade, a lot of games, sometimes if you end up building a Rage Blade is not a very good item to build. Sona is really the only one who uses it in game, but I've had some games where I go like Fast 9 or Fast 8, and I built Rage Blade on something like a Jinx, and then I'll move the item here. Or maybe I do a Jinx, I go Fast 8, I put a Rage Blade on an R8. It's not as good as Nashor's, obviously. And then when I go to 9, I can kind of remake my RA, move the Rage Blade here, and you'd be good to go. So that's also a strategy you can do as well. So these are the carries you guys want to play around. In terms of augments and stuff, Econ augment first is very good, and then any cybernetic augment, especially bulk, is extremely good on this patch. Bulk is extremely good. It's just overtuned. And then a good layering when you're running a lot of comps like KDA, Sentinel. Those are comps that use those things very, very, very well. Okay, and then to get to these comps, I just wanted to talk about some of the frontline or some of the early game headliners that I really like. I think playing around Heartsteel is extremely good on this patch. So if you get Heartsteel Cassante or Heartsteel Aphelios chosen, you want to get 5 Heartsteel mid game. The cash outs are extremely, extremely good. If I get a Cassante chosen, either Heartsteel or Sentinel, a lot of times I won't open that up until I'm level 8. Just because Cassante is just such a beast. I have no idea why they buffed him. So Cassante is a beast. Cassante and Kennen are the only chosens that I will not open on stage 3 sometimes. They're just really good. They just get the job done all the way through stage 3 usually. Cassante especially, he's so good. And then Kennen has gotten me Fast 9. I do not recommend Fast 9ing. I think you should always roll an 8 on this patch personally, unless you're just giga far ahead. Every game I've gone Fast 9, it just feels like I'm really... I go bot 4 a lot when I go Fast 9 in games where I might guarantee top 2 if I roll an 8. And those have been some learning experiences for me. Obviously, when you go Fast 9, you're playing for first, but on this patch, it's just not as good as the previous patches going Fast 9. So I don't necessarily recommend that strategy. But if you want to, these are some of the better headliners to do it with. So I really like these as frontline. And again, Heartsteel is just insane if you get Heartsteel chosen. And if you get Sentinel, it just really makes it easy. If you get Sentinel Cassante chosen or Sentinel Lilia chosen, it makes it really easy to kind of move into Ahri and play around that. So you can just look for that itemization and move into that. And then open up your Sentinel on level 8 whenever you roll, and then go for a new Sentinel chosen or for your Ahri chosen there. Okay, some of the best frontline users of all the best items that we talked about, like red buff, blue buff, and I do like Infinity Edge for the AD carry comps, are going to be these units. Annie is very good with his itemization. Now, this does mess up with her emo stuff sometimes, but still, she's just great with Nashers. And I mean, this is the item that you want on Ahri. It's not Annie's best item, but you do want the item. Corki is amazing with his itemization. Obviously, Corki has healing reduction in his kit, but just red buff is an amazing item. Just the upfront attack speed is great. I really like Jinx. Actually, I really like Jinx. I think she's very good for going Fast 8. That sort of thing. And if you end up having to build a Rage Blade on her, and then that's acceptable if you can tempo really hard. You can put a Rage Blade on Ezreal. It's not great, but it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so like she's great with this itemization. Kaisa obviously is amazing with this itemization. Insane with this. Felios, great. Jax. So Jax is a great reroll comp right now. These are not the Jax reroll items. So Jax reroll, usually it's going to be what I see most successful and what has felt good to me is Hand of Justice, Jeweled Gauntlet, plus a defensive item. So like Edge of Night, something like that, or Asterix. Usually Edge of Night. I really like Edge of Night. That is going to be your best bet. But if you're, I just put these items here. If you're like looking to flex Zed or something like flex Zed or Kali, I feel like these are better items to slam if you're trying to play flex, because obviously you don't want to build a Jewel Gauntlet and try to flex into a Kali Zed. Doesn't make any sense. So if you're playing this for tempo, very good here. But if you're playing Jax carry, the build looks a little bit different. And then Jax carry, you can play Mosher or EDM Chosen. I think EDM might be a little bit better. And then over here, Olaf, I think, is a great one-cost Chosen that I consider sometimes if I get a lot of bruisers on my opener. And it can be a great item holder for your frontline AD carries, especially Sterix +2. That makes it very, very, very strong. Usually you'll have to open up his Chosen slot on stage 3 because you can get a much better unit that uses the same items like Garen or something like that. So yeah, Yasuo is very good, especially for holding Akali's items. And sometimes he can just carry through stage 3. You don't have to open up your Chosen slots. So I like Yasuo a lot. He's very, very, very good on stage 2 and is acceptable on stage 3. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for the meta report. Take Econ Augments on 2-1. Build some of these items. Play for these carries. Roll on 8. Don't go fast 9. And guys, I just hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. I will be out of town all of next week for the holidays, visiting family. But I'll be back on January 1st. And I will be streaming every fucking day in January. That's my plan. I want to stream 4 to 6 hours a day. Days that I'd have to go to the gym, I'll stream 4 hours. And then days that I don't go to the gym, I will stream 6 hours. And I'm just going to commit to that. I'll be streaming on twitch.tv/TrajanTC. So I hope to see you there, and Merry Christmas.